Well, we're back at long last. It's been a while since I've done another video, especially on the adventure template stuff. I've been tweaking and experimenting with my adventure template that I talked about last video. I guess that was a month or two ago now. And I've iterated through 5 versions since then. This is the latest version here. This is just a quick look at it. So a little bit of history as I've come into the need for such a thing I'm finding because of this game right here. I've been messing with this game, good old Palladium Riffs, the original version, and like many people find it sometimes interesting, a challenge to run. I find it specifically a challenge to write decent adventures for, specifically because of the potential power level difference between characters. For instance, a glitter boy and a city rat. If you have the two of them in the same party, things can get interesting. The glitter boy being super powerful, high-tech power armor, and the city rat being mostly a normal person with probably body armor as their best defense. So just a quick overview of this. I'll go into things deeper in another video, future videos. I'll walk through building some adventures, and we'll just see how it goes, how it helps my process of creating adventures. Coherent adventures is the idea. But for now, just a quick overview. You can download this for free from the link in the description, or you can donate a couple bucks if you find it is useful to you. So just some fluff at the top here, adventure number if you're tracking that kind of thing, campaign name, GM system that you're using. I'm going to use this for all my adventure planning, not just riffs, but it's going to really help me for riffs, I think, here. You've got the level for which this was kind of made for, in case you want to reuse your adventure later and you kind of forget where in the character's progression you ran this. You can record that there. So we start with, at the top here, some kind of prompts to get the old brain going here. And this is tropes. So whatever system you're running, Earth, Dawn, GURPS, whatever, specifically systems with a setting, a built-in setting, a specific setting like Rifts or Earth Dawn. I like to come at the adventure with some tropes in mind. My first inspiration is usually a trope of the setting. For instance, Rifts, I've been thinking lately about ogres. The idea that you could get fantasy creatures like an ogre into Rift's Earth. They'd come through a rift or they were summoned by magic, something like that. But there's the high technology aspect and cybernetics. So I like the idea of cybernetics and monsters. So I'm going to write that here. Cyber monsters, like cybernetic demons, cybernetic, like a cyborg ogre. That'd be cool. I'm not sure what to do with that just yet, of course, but so there's an idea of a trope. There's an example. Or just magic items. Items of magic, something like that. That's a good old staple of any D&D or fantasy game. Over here, we have to generally start with a goal. So if this is a continuing campaign, your character's going to have goals already, probably loose threads from previous adventures. So we state that here. Find the power cell, the secret power cell, the Giga power cell. Let's call it Giga. It's a super strong, powerful, whatever, super capacity power cell that's been miniaturized, we'll say. That's what they're after. The next section is an overview of kind of your factions, or your movers and shakers, your villains, your NPC groups. So and each you can have up to 5. And this is kind of very utilitarian. You can change it to your purposes. This could be used as a 5 room dungeon sort of layout. Each of these circles has, it's hard to see, I'm sure. You can download this and take a look. I've got it really faintly written as prompts, so you can fill these in. The top of the circle says goal or resource. So say the goal of the resource. So you've got who wants it, what the barrier is, and what their goal is, and then an event or a timer or some sort of time obstacle. So for instance, let's say we've got Evil Shifter. You know, he's trying to open a rift, so his resource is the Lee line, and he wants to open a rift on that, and his barrier is he needs PPE. His timing would be, he has to do it, say, on the equinox or whatever. Okay, so now we've got a nice timed event here. Then around the circle here, this is like a clock. So the prompt here says event. So we've got, you know, planned out 4 tickers. Maybe you could subdivide and add more if you wanted. But we'll say, so this one is already, so you just fill these in. That's how I'm going to use it anyways. You can use your imagination, use these differently if that helps. But he has started summoning. Let's put, he's summoning offerings, like they're going to slay, yeah, okay, summoning DBs that they're gonna kill for the PPE to open the rift when the time is right. So he started that. That's phase 1. The next phase here is, let's say, find, I don't know, we'll say like build. He's got to build something. Build a gate. That's the next phase. Something like that. So we can go around like that. Up here we have just real faded out some lines for other prompts that if we want to fill in more details about this guy. One is location. So let's say he's in Ruins Lair. So he's out in the wilderness under some city ruins. So that's his location. Then we have, I can't see that myself actually. Some constraints. Sometimes it is really interesting, different locations or different factions that you'd be dealing with. If there's a constraint involved, this keeps me sharp, helps me remember to add constraints once in a while. You don't have to every time, but for instance, this one, let's put visibility. The constraint will be like darkness. Darkness or visibility in some way. Visibility will be limited. Maybe just darkness. Or since we're dealing with a lot of high-tech night vision stuff, maybe it's smoky or hazy or foggy to defeat the tech. That might be fun. Anyways, we'll just make a note of that. General constraint is visibility, darkness issues. And then there's another prompt here. It says additional reward. So is there another reward? So obviously this guy here's his reward, the goal, resource, whatever is the Lee line. Is there additional reward? Sure, this guy has, let's say he has a magic item. There, we've fulfilled one of our tropes that we wanted to use already. So he's got a magic item, whatever. I might write that there if I knew right now, but for these purposes, we'll just move on. So that's one kind of faction filled out and done. Now the idea with this spacing is that once in a while I get creative and I feel like I'm doing a little bit of drawing. So here is, you can do layouts, you can do connections if these are dependent. So say, okay, so this is, I'll do some drawings here, some more like some doodles here. This is like the ruins. This guy's out in the ruins. This area is all ruins. Okay, so over here is, we'll say location will be Deadwood. I don't know what that is. I just came up with that. Location is Deadwood. There's the idea. We'll start, you know, just get yourself started with these prompts. That's what these are here for. Deadwood, and the idea is I need at least one other faction. This would be a very simple adventure. This would be it. You know, we need to find the power cell. Maybe this guy has it, he's using it. And then we'll continue on filling out the sheet. That could be our adventure. But to help me prompt myself into making more interesting adventures, I want up to 5 of them, at least 2. So, for instance, I'd have another third party. Maybe these guys are neutral. Say we've got some scabbers. They're living in Deadwood. Goal, resources that they want is salvage, of course. The barrier is now the shifter, however. And their timer is perhaps they have a generator that's, say, pumping water for them. I'll put no water is their kind of time frame. So they need to get their parts, scavenge their parts from the ruins out here where these guys are holed up. And these poor scabbers are dying of thirst. They're having a hard time feeding their small clan, village, tribe, whatever. So these two are maybe connected. So that's what they want. That's what they want. PCs come in. So we're writing, we don't write plots. We just set up situations, conflicts for the PCs to get in the middle of and deal with. Now the PCs may come, find these guys useful and use their info, turn them against them, the social situations, whatever. We'll see how it goes. Moving on. That's still pretty weak. I'd like to typically try to bring in another faction, at least a triangular. A love triangle is always the best to deal with. Conflict triangle. Down here we've got our encounter matrix. So this is where we start getting where the rubber hits the road. This is all well and good. This is high level stuff though. This is good so that as GM I can run the adventure off this sheet almost with probably some sheets of stats for some specific players, but specific NPCs and villains. But this is my guide. With this I know what these factions, these entities, whatever, or if this was a 5-room dungeon, I know what this particular room is, you know, what the goal or resource in there is, who's there, and what they want, and what their timer may be. Down here though this is overall guidance for the motivations of the bad guys, everything in the background. This is where we actually deal with the encounters. So this is a listing of your players, up to 6 of them, or if you've got more than 6, you break it down by player type, like your social, your combat, or your techies, maybe like your support. For my game, I'm going to run for a glitter boy, so I'll just write them in. I've got a glitter boy, I've got a crazy, I have a burster, I have a CS tech, and I have, and I have a city rat. Okay, so this is what my adventures in the past have seriously been lacking on. better power-tailored encounters. It's not usually a problem with games that have well-balanced character classes. D&D, I suppose, is pretty well-balanced. It's one of the best, I guess, of the games that I run anyways. Earth Dawn is actually really tight. So for instance, if we've got an encounter, I want to encounter, say, okay. Oh yeah, cyber monsters, I want to use that. I want a guardian. Okay, so I wanted an ogre, a cyborg ogre. So I'm going to put one of my encounters as cyborg ogre. Now that is a heavy-hitting foe. He's great. He's a great contender for the Glitter Boy. Those two can slug it out back and forth, just wailing on each other with heavy guns and fisticuffs. But that cyborg would, just a punch would paste any of these guys, probably. The burst, or these three. The crazy could take a punch or two. So I need to keep these guys busy. They may be shooting. They can, whatever, they can always shoot away on this guy. But I want to make things more interesting. I'm going to say there's, he's got, I want cyber snakes. I like the idea of that. So cyber snakes, there's going to be like a gang of cyber snakes controlled maybe by the cyborg ogre in some way. Maybe they're just there guarding as well, some sort of magical thing from the lee line or from the shifter. Who knows, but I'll figure that out later. But for now, cyber snakes are gonna be also in the mix. Okay, so that's a lesser, that's like a minion, some fodder. That's a lesser enemy. So while the cyborg ogre and the glitter boy are slugging it out, we're gonna have a whole bunch of cyber snakes attacking as well. So that'll be the crazy and the bursters. Yeah, okay, let's go 3 levels here then. The burster and the crazy can hack away at them. The burster can do a lot of area control or whatever. Traffic control with his flame aura and flame burst. No, the flame eruption. These are, the City Rat and the CS Tech are total support characters. They got a lot of skills. And it's best to, I really like giving them some reasons to use their skills. So let's say to get in, they've got to use, let's throw some skills down. That's what they're going to be busy doing. Maybe they'll be kind of fighting off a snake while they're doing something, but during all this action, their challenge, so I've got the prompt here, it says obstacle, challenge, or adversary is the dark line, and the white line is the situation, boon, or bane, so that's an equalizer. So we don't necessarily, actually, let's continue on with this first. So we got to, the City Rat's got pick locks. He's got a pick lock skill pretty high. That's kind of his main jam. And he's got a prowl. So let's say we got prowl he needs to use. Prowl and lock. And the situation, he needs to do it while fighting Cyber Snake. Okay, so the challenge adversary is Cyber Snake. This could be up here. These could swap, but you get the idea. It doesn't really matter. In this 2-line encounter, the City Rat, we should make him aware that they can't actually get past, even if they win this fight, they still can't get in or get past. If he can, during the combat prowl, get to the keypad, or maybe it's a manual mechanical lock, they can bypass this encounter without fighting off all the foes by using lockpicks and prowl. The CS Tech, the Coalition Technical Officer, he's got weapon systems. I usually sit with a listing of the character's skills while doing these adventures. So let's put that down. He's got, so we'll put weapon systems. And let's say that there is a, there's like a sentry gun. Oh, yeah, okay, maybe there's an automated sentry gun there as well. And him having weapon systems, he can basically modify, hack that thing, whatever, take control of it, and use it against the bad guys. So that's a snapshot of what this, okay, yeah, okay, great. So by using prompts, like we want to use as much given information so we don't have to dream up everything about an adventure. So use prompts where you can from your character sheets. So that'll give them some fun. They can use their skills. These guys will just be duking it out because, let's face it, their thing is fighting. Glitter Boy, Crazy Burster. And then over here we have where/when. So this is lair entrance. And whenever, that's an obvious PC arrival. Sometimes it matters when these will be triggered. I'll make a note to myself when you want to trigger these. Okay, so let's go a step further and also provide. So the Crazy and Burster are fighting cyber snakes. A couple cyber snakes, no big deal. The situational bane or boon, the equalizer, to make this a challenge. I'm gonna ratchet up the stakes and say there's let's put 10 snakes on each of them. Okay, and so that's a bane for them. This cyborg ogre. Oh, okay. The Glitter Boy could stand back and just wail away on the cyborg ogre with his boom gun. I'd love to get a scene where that Glitter Boy's up in there, melee, hand-to-hand combat with this ogre. Maybe the ogre doesn't have a gun, just cybernetic arms. So let's give a bane to the Glitter Boy as well. The situation is such that maybe it's just tight quarters. We'll just say it's a tight room. Okay, so that's the idea. That's what that is for. So then when we come in as the game master, I'm setting up the scene. They walk, you come through the ruins, you get to the spot, you think you see lots of tracks, foot traffic. This must be the spot, the entrance into the lair. You go in, you wind through some tight areas. The Glitter Boy armor can fit easily, but it is not a good situation for using guns. As you continue, you come into a small opening room, maybe 20 by 20, where, and you're set upon by snakes and a sentry gun, and, okay, you get the idea. And then this is, you don't have to, of course, fill out 8, but they're numbered, so you can roll random if that suits your game. A lot of my games, I do like to have encounters that can show up anywhere, so I'll roll random. And you'd also put your social encounters here, like the scavers. When they'll show up. Maybe the scavers. Let me put in the lair. Actually, I'll just put nothing / so where they'll show up anywhere. Maybe we'll put a star, like anywhere. And when the PC's in trouble. So just a note to myself that I can use the scavers as the infantry or the cavalry. The cavalry. They'll ride in and save the PCs when it seems like there's no way out, no other way out. That could be a handy story device. Then they owe them. Then we can we can work that in. Okay, and then I would list out what an encounter with the scavers would look like. Maybe even a couple different ones. If I had another faction, say I had Psy Stalkers. I love to use Psy Stalkers as a kind of a third party. They just I like to use them as the chaos factor. They just will attack anybody and take their stuff or drink their PPE, whatever. Anyhow, for now, moving on. This was supposed to be a short overview. It's not getting to be so short any longer, but I'll do more full adventures later, because I'd like to really walk through this and test this design out. and I like to also maybe do some solo role-playing to test the adventure. So the last 2 boxes to fill out, I often forget in my adventures, and once again, these are prompts to make sure I do not. It's always good to have a whimsical. This says whimsical. A whimsical encounter or scene. So not everything is always just serious or deadly or a bargain to be made or, you know, something to win or lose. Just a either comic relief or a story building scene. Say some rookies rookies from town, in brackets, wannabe adventurers, catch up to PCs. So I might want to stat those out depending on how good I'm feeling on my improv that day. But there's a scene that I can pull out at any time when the action is getting into a lull, or when the time is right, or maybe they'd be some losers who would show up and maybe help the PCs in some way, and save their lives. Use it as we see fit. Just nice to have there, ready to go. Doesn't have to be used, but certainly makes the adventure more dynamic in my view. And last but not least, a twist. So we've got to have a twist. You don't gotta have a twist, but it makes it fun. So let's say that there's a twist, an unforeseen development. What could it be? I usually just take the factions and somehow link them in some unforeseen way. Maybe the ogre. Oh yeah, the cyborg ogre is a scabber. Cyborg ogre, okay, is former scaver tribe chief. How about that? So somehow the shifter captured him, abducted him, whatever, and transmutated him into an ogre. And gave him cybernetics somehow? Probably not. Okay, the shifter. Okay, here we go. Shifter and Cyberdoc. Call him Doc Shade. Okay, now we've got a duo working together. He experimented on this poor dude after he was turned into an ogre. And they chopped off his arms and gave him gigantic cyber limbs. Well, that's kind of tragic. That kind of went dark there, didn't it? Okay, well anyways, there's our twist. And there's the idea. So, I haven't seen a lot of mileage on this yet. It's still a month old at this point. Well, less than that, a couple weeks old. Version 5 of my adventure template document. But I'm gonna keep on trying to fill it out. I'm finding this is speeding up, like, you know, we just went over, we pretty much got the skeleton of an entire adventure ready to run here pretty quickly. It's really improving my output. So maybe it'll help you too. Take a look, download it for free. If it works for you, throw me a buck if you feel up to it. Thanks a lot. See you next time. Roll on.